When you hear the name Brazil, what immediately comes to mind? Perhaps the stunning beaches, the giant statue of Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, or the world-renowned soccer that is often considered the iconic sport of the country. As a beautiful nation rich with stories, this South American country consistently draws tourists from all over the world to visit. However, despite all its advantages, Brazil is not a perfect country. It has numerous dark sides that cannot be ignored. Brazil is particularly noted as a dangerous country for women, whether they are locals or tourists. For instance, the dream of becoming a model is deeply ingrained in Brazilian girls, driven by the country's reputation as a model-producing nation. While some models, like Adriana Lima or Gisele Bündchen, have successfully risen to international fame and luxury after being discovered in small towns in southern Brazil, the reality for many others is grim. According to a report from Tempo.co, the dominant Brazilian model industry often leads to exploitation through unfavorable agreements. Many aspiring models end up in debt bondage, compelled to maintain a glamorous lifestyle. Additionally, the stereotype of beauty that Brazilian women feel pressured to meet is costly, often involving expensive plastic surgery. These procedures can cost hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Plastic surgery is as popular in Brazil as it is in South Korea, but in Brazil, it has a darker side due to the prevalence of cheap clinics that pose significant risks. Quartz reported an incident where a woman suffered physical deformities to her chest and face following plastic surgery and was unable to seek any legal recourse. For female tourists, Brazil is considered a beautiful but dangerous destination. This is due to various incidents collectively referred to as Brazilian horror. These include robberies, kidnappings, and inappropriate behavior on public transportation, such as the 2013 case where an American tourist was assaulted on a bus. This occurred even as Brazil was preparing to host the 2014 World Cup and the 2016 Olympics, events that put the country in the global spotlight. Upon closer inspection, the main issue that Brazil should address is the slum areas. According to a 2004 report by the BBC, 1/3 of Brazil's population lived in extreme poverty, earning less than $1 per day. Although this number has gradually decreased to 4% by 2020, the situation worsened after the pandemic hit, causing many people to fall back into poverty. The economic struggles in these slum areas have led to widespread hunger, pushing many people to gather in one place, where desperation often drives them to commit crimes. Brazil even ranks among the top 10 countries with the highest crime rates. For every 100,000 people, there are 67.49 victims of crime. Among these crimes, some even cost people their lives. On paper, the crime reports in Brazil are notably complex, as they are highly organized within groups. We are all familiar with this reality, as depicted in films like City of God and Fast and Furious. When we talk about Brazil, we cannot overlook football. The country is so closely linked with the sport that it has earned the nickname the Land of Samba, producing numerous football stars such as Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká, and the latest sensation, Neymar Jr. Brazil has also won the World Cup a record 5 times. However, the nation's close relationship with football comes with a controversial concept known as the blessing and the curse. The blessing refers to the ideal environment Brazil provides for many people to become great footballers. Every corner of Brazil can serve as a place to play football, and the country has legendary figures like Pelé, who inspire and push young talents to greater heights. In such an environment, it is not hard for a child to make it to the world stage and experience the sudden wealth that comes with being an international footballer. However, Once this money arrives, all football players face the curse. Most famous Brazilian players come from impoverished backgrounds, so when they suddenly acquire wealth, they tend to indulge in every desire, leading to their downfall. Take, for example, the party king Adriano, who reportedly spent millions of dollars in one night just to party. Then there's Ronaldinho, who has been involved in various issues, including drug-related cases and passport forgery. With this long list of talents ruined by unchecked desires, we can only hope that future Brazilian players will avoid the same fate. Reflecting on Brazil's sports events from several years ago, we cannot overlook the scandal-ridden 2016 Summer Olympics. The financial mismanagement of the event was glaring, with costs ballooning to an astronomical $14 billion. Despite Brazil having a GDP of $1.6 trillion, making it the 12th largest economy in the world, such an immense expenditure could have addressed numerous issues, such as the slum area known as Mare in the northern part of Rio de Janeiro. Unfortunately, Mare was not prioritized. In fact, it became an embarrassment for Brazil, as it was hidden behind a large wall during the prestigious sports event. In addition to Mare, another area adversely affected by the 2016 Olympics was Barra, which served as the event's central hub. All the supporting facilities for the event were built here. While this might sound impressive to some, it was far from a blessing for the local residents. Those who had lived in the area for decades were evicted and relocated to places much farther from their birthplaces. Once again, Brazil sought to ensure that its citizens would not interfere with the Olympics. This decision, unsurprisingly, sparked widespread protests. One might wonder what was going through the minds of Brazil's government officials at the time. After the 2016 Summer Olympics, the stadiums, which had cost a fortune, were left neglected. For instance, the Maracana Stadium, once the proud venue for the Olympic opening ceremony, fell into disrepair. Adding to the disgrace, 5 years after the grand event, Carlos Nuzman, who was the president of the Brazilian Olympic Committee, was found guilty of vote buying and sentenced to 30 years and 11 months in prison. Thus, beyond the wasteful spending and neglect of Mare's residents, the Brazilian government also engaged in corrupt practices to secure the role of host. That's a glimpse into the darker side of Brazil. See you in the next video.